Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. This is Deanna at Lilla Rose, and I have Belinda Ellsworth with me here. She is from Step Into Success, and tonight she is going to be sharing recruiting tips. So hopefully you can hear me, and if you can, and you can see my screen, please type a yes in the question box. That question box is in one of your if you look at your little flower. Awesome. The yeses are coming in. Great. And hopefully you were on Facebook tonight to watch that Facebook Live with John Dorsey and the gang. What a really fun time, getting everyone excited about the new enrollment kit. So this is just leading right into this training, helping all of you with recruiting. Belinda's going to jump right in just a moment here about recruiting tips. And I just wanted to let you all know, if you're having trouble with sound or anything like that, you can maybe close out your windows. Too much streaming going on, it does affect the sound with GoToWebinar. So that should help you a little bit. And that's enough of me talking. So everyone, welcome Belinda.
Hey everyone, I'm super excited to be here. There is so many fantastic things going on at Lilla Rose. Oh my gosh. With this new kit that we're rolling out, it's such an exciting time for people to be joining the business. And I just really wanted to give you some really great recruiting tips so that as you're talking to people or you're, thinking about, wow, I want to share this with people too. I just want to give you really some great tips on how to do that. So that's what tonight's call is all about, because we want you to take this brand new kit that we have that's really designed to help you grow a successful business, and we want you to be able to share that with others. So let's get started. The first thing that we're going to talk about are the 4 basic rules of sponsoring. And I just have to say that before we get into what the 4 are, and this is the one thing that I have found in all the years of talking about recruiting, is the one thing that you have to understand more than anything else is that recruiting is an attitude. The most people actually don't recruit because it all starts with the attitude that they have about it, that it is too hard, that you're not any good at it, you're gonna wait till you get a little further along in the business before you start recruiting. And you know what? All of this just really isn't true. You know enough by sharing, it's exciting, and statistics show that when like 2 friends end up joining roughly at the same time, they both have a greater level of success. It makes the business more fun, it makes it more exciting. And I think the other part of the attitude that people sometimes deal with is, well, I don't want people to think that I'm pushing this on them. I don't want them to think I'm bugging them. And in reality, I think it's because we're looking at ourselves like, oh, I don't want people to think I'm just trying to make money. I don't want people to think that I'm just trying to get a promotion. I don't want people to think I'm just trying to earn a trip, or whatever the case may be. And in reality, you kind of have to flip. It's like a light switch that you just want to turn on and say, wow, I have the awesome privilege to change the course of someone else's life. I have the opportunity to offer something great to someone where they could make an additional income or have a flexible job to work around their family. I get to be a part of that. And so when you take the focus off of you and you put it on, who can I reach? Who's out there? Who needs to know about this? Whose life can I have an impact on? It can change everything that I'm going to teach you tonight. So the first thing really is to get a good attitude. So let's start with the 4 basic rules. And number 1 is always invite. Now with bookings and hosting a boutique, we really always ask, right? I would really love it if you would do this, if you ever considered doing this. But with recruiting, it's invite. And what I mean by that is you want to use soft word choices versus hard word choices. Hard word choices are like, so if you would like to join my team, if you would like to get started right away, if you would like to start making money. But soft word choices are, I invite you to take a look at what we're all about. I would encourage you to take home some information with you this evening. If you would just like to know a little bit more about what we're all about here at Lilla Rose, please let me know and I would be happy to give you some information. This is called the safe zone. It allows people to be interested without making a commitment. Statistics show that about 50% of people that you will encounter, so 50% of people at your boutiques, 50% of people that you might meet out at a trade show, 50% of people leave considering your job. Doesn't mean that they'll join. It means they're saying to themselves, wow, I wonder if I would be any good at that. I wonder if I could do that. I wonder if my friends would support me. Wow, it seems like a fun product. I mean, everybody, is really into all the different styles of hair right now, and this is a perfect product to be able to sell. So people leave with those feelings, but you never identify who they were. You never identify them so that you can follow up with them in a little bit later time. Our main purpose here is to gather leads. We want to identify the leads, and by creating a safe zone for people to just be interested, to get some more information, that makes them feel safe enough to say, yes, I would like some information. Number 2 is never, ever prejudge. And I can say this a million times, and everyone does it anyway. We really have these sort of things that we decide on why we're not going to talk to a person. Some of those would include, and this one always amazes me the most, that you could look out into an audience and just say, oh, they don't look like they're interested. We have no idea what's going on in somebody's life by looking out to them. Maybe an extra $600 a month is going to completely impact their life, and you just look at them and think, oh, they just don't really seem interested. We sometimes judge by age, we judge by experience, we judge by the income. A lot of times you will sit and look at a person and go, oh, they don't need the income. They have a really good job. They would probably never want to do this. But there's so many other wonderful benefits to this that people are always looking for one of the 5 benefits. We're going to talk about those in a few minutes. So never prejudge. Number 3 is you always want to do that sponsoring talk no matter what. Now, this is specifically at your boutiques. And what I mean by this is I've held over about 3,500 parties in my life, and I continue to go to parties all the time because I want to stay current, and I like to see what people are doing. I like to see what is working. And one of the things that I'm always amazed at is people will get to this point in their presentation or in the party. It's usually kind of toward the end before everybody kind of starts doing their orders. And this is where you should be doing that sponsoring talk. And yet I watch people and they look around the room and I know what they're thinking. It's like, ooh, nobody here looks like they're interested. I'm just going to skip this. And I want you to remember that when you are sponsoring or recruiting, this is really what you are doing. You are offering a solution to people's challenges. And there are a ton of people out there with some challenges, whether it's needing a little bit more income, whether it's needing a little bit more flexible schedule. We offer a solution for people's challenges. And I promise you that each and every single person sitting in that at that boutique, it probably has one challenge or another that they would really love if their life were to be a little bit easier. So always do the sponsoring talk no matter what. Do not leave it out. And number 4 is, this is also going to help you. You are not looking for recruits. You are looking for leads. This will help you get over that rejection piece. Like, oh, I don't want to feel rejected if I ask and they say no. If you take that off the table, then you're not even gonna have to worry about it. You're looking for leads. And what I mean by that is, think of it like this. Your main objective always in the arena of recruiting or sponsoring is to create interest. That's your main objective. So I always want to be creating interest. Now, The more interest you create, the more leads, meaning people saying, I'd like some information. I'd like to know a little bit more. So the more interest you create, the more leads that you get, the more leads that you get, the more people that will join. It really is all about the numbers. And if you only ever talk to one person and then they say no, for many of you, you feel like, wow, it was me. I'm not any good at this. But in reality, you generally need to talk to about 10 people before you're going to get that one. Now, one of the things that I always encourage, and it was a rule that I always lived by and served me well, was when you go to your boutiques, make it a goal to give out 3 information packets at every single boutique so that you are asking, even when you are checking out, so would you like to take home some information to take a closer look at what we're all about? Sure, great. And you're going to give that to them. People are more likely to say, okay, again, we're in the safe zone. If I give out 3 of those in an evening, then I've got 3 people to follow up with. Just think, after your 3rd party, you're almost to those 10 people, and you're pretty much, I can almost guarantee it, in fact, that you're going to have somebody that's going to join out of those 3 boutiques. So I just want you to have that goal. Of course, one of the things you want to do is what? Make the packets and take the packets. So be ready when someone says, yes, I would like some information. So next, we're going to talk about the 5 reasons that people join a direct selling business. Now, why is this important? And if you want to flip that to the next slide, there we go. Part 2 is the 5 reasons people join a direct sales business. Now, why is this important? We're going to go down each one of these 5. It's important because when you are doing your recruiting talk in your boutiques, when you are standing and talking to people, when you're out and about or at trade shows, these are the things that you always want to be sharing with people, because these are the things that are going to attract them, or these are the things that people are looking for. Now, there are several other, reasons, but we've identified these in this order as the top 5. So let's talk about income first. It is definitely a proven fact that most people will end up joining a direct sales company for income. And income is represented in about 3 different ways. Number 1, it is the actual income that you can generate or earn. And there's a lot of people that are looking for that extra income. In fact, statistics show that the average household is really impacted by an extra $600 in income. And we know that you're able to earn that with your Lilla Rose business fairly easily. So just think, if that can impact the average household, wow, how incredible is that? And it doesn't matter how much income people make. They're always looking for those extras. They want to go on that extra, vacation, or maybe do some remodeling in their house, or whatever the case may be. So income is number 1. Number 2, and it's a close number 2, especially over the years, this has really ramped right up there to be equal to that income, and that is a flexible schedule. People today more than ever are mindful of wanting to spend time with the people that they care about. They want to be able to take a birthday off. They want to have a flexible schedule. They don't want to be gone for 12 hours in a day. So this type of business really suits a lot of different individuals well. One is the person who does work another full-time job. What they like about this is they might be stuck with a set income that they don't have any opportunity to increase that if they want. And so by doing this, they're able to work around that regular job, making the extra income for their families. You're going to run into the stay-at-home mom. This business has always been serving that group of individuals, or that demographic, for a very long time. There are still people that want to be able to be home and be with their kids and not spend all of their money in daycare, and at the same time, they want to be able to work on the days that are good for them. We also see a really growing population with this is the college student. And what I love about Lilla Rose is because of how easy it is to carry the product in just even a small tote bag. You know, you don't have to have this big kit that is taking up this big space, and people can sit and do it with their laptop right in either their dorm room or an apartment, and they literally are able to make a better income than they would at many of the other facilities within that college campus, whether it's a, you know, a bar, or whether it's a restaurant, or whether it is just work in the school cafeteria. You know, they're able to work it around their flexible schedule of their classes. And the last demographic or group of people that this industry is really starting to make an impact with in a great way is that of the retirees, because they're like, wow, you know, I'm not ready to just quit working, but I want it to be on my terms. I want to work on my time. And they're really finding this to be a really great avenue as well. Going back to income, I said it's represented in 3 different ways, and I didn't share the other 2. So the one is with the income that you make. Number 2 is the discount on your own personal products that you receive. And a lot of people like that. They're like, you know what, this is really great, and I'll be able to get that personal discount. But the third way that the income is represented is in the deductions that you can get from your taxes on having a home-based business. So income really is represented in different ways, which makes it a really, really great opportunity for a lot of individuals. Number 3 is those friendships. And you know, it's probably one of the things I love about this business more than anything is the friendships that you develop in this type of business are so amazing, because you come into this and you suddenly have a whole group of people that want nothing more, not only to be your friend, but to support you and encourage you and stand behind you and help you to be successful. So a lot of people come in because they're looking for a tribe, if you will. They're looking for people that are kind of like-minded with them. They're looking for people that, you know, want to be successful and that they can cheer on and be cheered along themselves. So the friendships really are a big reason of why people seek out this type of business. Number 4 is recognition. When asked, you know, they've done several big surveys on this with major universities, is when people are asked from their job what they value most, ahead of income was actually, I just want to be recognized and appreciated for a job well done. And that is that recognition piece. And at Lilla Rose, they do such a fantastic job. What a great company that they're constantly cheering people on, offering different recognition in, you know, drawings and free product and all kinds of other wonderful incentives that you're able to get along the way. And that really is rewarding for a lot of individuals. And personal growth and self-confidence is that last one. And it's not necessarily the reason why people join, but it's the one everybody walks away with. You know, everybody walks away with that, you know, personal growth, and that I feel confident. And I feel now, I've had people say to me, wow, my boss, I got promoted at my day job because my boss says, I don't know what's gotten into you, but you're just like more positive and you have more energy. And a lot of it has to do with their excitement that is surrounded in that confidence that they're gaining with their direct selling business. Now, I show you these because when you are at your boutiques, I'm going to show you how we're going to lay this all together in our last section here in just a second. But these are the things you want to touch on, because I promise you, every single person that is at your boutique is in need of one of these. Every single one of them. And some of them, all 5. So if we can plant little seeds, if we can talk about these different things, knowing that it is probably going to grab someone's attention, then that is going to make it more worthwhile. And it's also going to help you get more leads that then later are going to turn into recruits on your team. So now let's take a moment and let's talk about actually how to do that sponsoring talk. And we're going to cover creating the interest in the 5 points of interest. All right, again, remember, you want to do the sponsoring talk no matter what. Now, what do I mean by 5 points of interest? It is a proven fact that people need to hear something about 5 times before it really sinks in. And so one of the things that we know in doing survey groups and talking to people, when people attend parties, they've actually said, I expect that they're going to do a recruiting talk. In fact, if they don't do one, I really question whether they think any of us would be any good. So we really want to take the time out and to plan out what we're going to say. In the opposite of that, those same people said, I just hate it when they tell their whole life story. And that's what we have a tendency to do. We take this one moment, sometimes it's at the beginning, sometimes it's toward the end, or sometimes it's in the middle, and then we just tell everything. Well, some people kind of get bored with that, or they tune you out, or they're not paying attention. And what we want to do is hit it 5 times in short, I like to call them sprinkles. We're going to sprinkle it out throughout the boutique, and we're just going to plant little seeds, points of interest, so that people go, oh, and one person might really be interested in number 1, and then another person hears it again, and it might be somebody different that connects on number 2, but then when you do number 3, you know, the person that, you know, kind of you piqued their interest with number 1, they're going, wow, I really should take a look at this. So by doing 5 points of interest, we have an opportunity for people to really catch on to it, as well as it reaches different people depending on what we say throughout these 5 points. So I want to give you some talking points to these 5 points. Number 1 is going to be kind of during the beginning of the boutique, and it's part of your opening. Now, in one of our next sessions that we have coming up for training, we're going to actually talk about doing that style boutique. And one of the big pieces or key elements of that is doing a really nice opening. And that's kind of the transition of gathering everybody together and then into, I'm going to start showing the product. So an opening generally will sound something like, hi everyone, you know, quick show of hands. How many of you have never been to a Lilla Rose style boutique before? Great. Well, ladies, you're in for a treat tonight because we have a beautiful collection of hair accessories, a little bit of something for everyone that you are absolutely going to fall in love with. And our Flexi Clip, which is one of our signature pieces, you will not find anything like it in the marketplace anywhere else. Ladies, if you find yourself falling in love with everything tonight, then you really want to consider having your own style boutique. Your friends are going to love you for it. They're going to love seeing something completely different in you and exciting, and you're going to be rewarded with a generous shopping spree and the chance to shop at 50% off. But as you watch me do the boutique this evening, just think about you doing it. Maybe many of you sitting here tonight are looking for a way to make an extra stream of income. Just think, what could an extra $400 to $600 do for you and your family? It could be a great way for you to, you know, either do some remodels on your home, go on a great vacation, maybe just pay for the kids' extracurricular activities. But if any one of you tonight would just like to take home some information with you to take a closer look at what Lilla Rose is all about, please let me know and I will gladly send you home with that. So that's what we call a standard opening. As you saw, the third piece to that. So I just really, you know, hit it with talking about the product, then I talked about hosting, and then I was talking about sponsoring. So as you watch me do the boutique this evening, you'll see that my job is fun. And it's also pretty easy. I mean, oh my gosh, this product literally sells itself. You can see that. And maybe many of you here tonight are looking for a way to add an extra stream of income to your household budget. You know, imagine what an extra $400 to $600 could do for you and your family. It could be a great way to go on a vacation, maybe do some remodeling to your house, maybe just for the kids' extracurricular activities. But if anyone would just like some information to take home with them, to take a closer look at what we're all about, please let me know, and I would gladly send you home with that. So that is interest point 1, and that is typically done toward the beginning of the boutique. Number 2. So number 2, 3, and 4 is going to be your I story. So many people start out with number 1 as their I story. Hi everyone, I'd like to take this moment to tell you a little bit about myself and how I got involved with Lilla Rose. You know, I was a teacher and I had been doing that for this many years, and I really wanted something extra to work around my schedule, blah, 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 blah. People kind of like, okay, tune it out. That first point, we want to grab their attention. So we call this a you story. What could this do for you? Are you looking for a way for a little extra income? Maybe, and you can even add some of the others in there. Maybe it's just something doing fun and different than you've ever done before. But number 1 is a you story. Number 2, 3, and 4 is your I story, but it's sprinkled. Meaning, we're not going to tell our whole life story in one fell swoop. We're going to sprinkle out key points of it. So I'm going to help you to kind of construct those. So number 2, 3, and 4 is your I. So number 2 is the first part of your I story. I want you to talk about why you were attracted to Lilla Rose. So, you know, ladies, you know, I started with Lilla Rose, just telling you a little bit about myself, about 2 years ago. It has been awesome. I fell in love with the products. I know that, you know, hair accessories is really all the rage. And it certainly has been. Plus, there is nothing like the Plexi Clip in the marketplace. So I was just like, you know what? It's a new and upcoming company. I'm going to get on board. Whatever your story is. But keep it pretty short and simple. Then number 3 is like a few minutes later, you're kind of showing, maybe you're doing some on individuals and showing them how the clip works. And then you're showing how, you know, 2 or 3 of the pieces tie together in a really nice grouping. So you're kind of going along. Now, the number 4 is going to be something about income. You know, one of the things I've been able to do with my extra income is, you know, one of the reasons I joined is we were saving for a blah, blah, blah. And that is what I am doing with all of my extra income. So say something about income. If you've been doing this a while, share with something that you did with that extra income. If you're fairly new, then share what you'd like to do with that extra income, because that grabs people's interest. And then, so that was 2, 3, and now we're on 4. So number 4 then is going to be about something this has done for you personally besides the income. So you might want to say something like, you know, one of the other things that I love about this is the great friendships that I've gained from doing it. It really is a great group of people that all want to see you succeed. We're all there supporting one another. There's actually nothing quite like it. Or, you know, one of the things that this has helped me out with so much is my self-confidence. You know, at first I was pretty shy, and just by doing these boutiques, it is really, you know, I'm kind of like almost a changed person in that I feel more confident in work and in some of my other relationships, whatever. You know, in addition to a great income, I love the fact that I can get this from this business, or I get to do this. I get to work it around my family. That would be another great point. And see, in all of these, what am I hitting on? Those 5 reasons that people join. Now, I want you to be authentic, and I want you to be sincere in what you're saying. But when you're thinking about that, think about those 5 things. Like, which one of those, like, how did that impact you? That's going to have the greatest impact when you are at that boutique. And then number 5 is the actual, what we'll call the recruiting talk itself. So, and this is usually kind of towards the end before you're going to start doing all the orders and everything. And again, I like to go back to kind of what I said in the beginning. So, ladies, you've watched me do the boutique this evening. You saw that my job is a lot of fun, and it's pretty easy. That's what I love about this is that, you know, it's all nice and compact. You don't have to carry a lot of stuff, and it's super easy. And maybe many of you are saying to yourself, wow, you know, an extra $400-600 sure would be nice, but I've never been in sales. I've never done anything like this before. What if I get in? You know, can you really make any money doing this? Well, ladies, that's what's so great about Lilla Rose is they literally give you a chance to give it a try. It's really a minimal investment. You get a very nice kit of a great selection of products. You'll be able to go into that very first boutique of your own, be able to show the product, take orders, and start earning an income right away. In fact, usually in your first to second party, first to second boutique, you will have your investment paid for. And if you just do a handful of boutiques, that first to second one, you'll have your investment paid, and you'll be well on your way to earning some additional cash. If you decide that this isn't for you, then you've got some fantastic hair accessories for yourself, and you really haven't lost anything. So really, again, if you're interested in taking home some information, just to know a little bit more about what we're all about, I would be more than happy to send you home with that. It really is an exciting time here at Lilla Rose, and we've got so many exciting things happening, honestly. So I hope that you'll take a look, and either for yourself or for a friend, if you know someone that you think would be really good at this. That is your 5 points of interest. If you do that, you are going to get people interested. They're going to want that information. Now, what I see so often is when you're in that actual recruiting talk and you're saying, so ladies, you know, many of you are saying to yourself, wow, this looks really great. I've never been in sales. What if I get in? What if I'm not any good? You know, that's what's so great about Lilla Rose. They literally give you a chance to give it a try. Usually your very first to second boutique, you'll have your investment paid, you'll have cash in your pocket. If you decide it's not for you, you've got some really great hair accessories for yourself. But you may discover that you really like it, and it's a great way to meet new people, earn that extra income, and have a lot of fun doing it. Now, this is where you would get to that point. You go, so if you would like some information, again, if you would like to take home some information for either yourself or for a friend, but many of you get to that point and you go, so if you would like to join my team, if you would like to get started tonight, and that's where this whole night we've been leading up, gathering this interest, and right there in 1 second, you can actually have people go, oh, I'm not ready to join, so I'm not even going to say I'm interested. So we want to stick through that the whole evening or day or whatever it is you're doing it. So again, if anyone would just like some information to take home with them, please let me know, and I would be glad to send you home with some information. It kind of shows you the kit, tells you a little bit about what comes in that, with the cost of that, and it also gives you some other really great information about the company. So that's how you get those packets out. Now, I kind of want to give you a little tips here, a couple little tips on what can happen at a boutique. So let's pretend that you've got 2 ladies sitting on the couch. I've got Susan and I have Cindy. So Susan is saying to herself, wow, I'd like that. I'd like to take one of those packets home. And Cindy is saying, man, I'd like to take one home, but there's no way I'm telling her I want one because I've been to these. They're going to bug you and whatever. So you see right on your little sheet there, Susan is like, yep, I'm interested in some information. So you're pretty fired up. You're pretty excited. And what we have a tendency to do is sort of pounce on Susan. So you walk over to her, you're so enthusiastic, you're excited, and you're like, oh, Susan, I see here you're interested in some information. Oh my gosh, you're gonna love this. This is the best company ever. They're so great. You know, they do so much for us. They're so awesome. And you're just kind of going and talking about yourself and why you like it. And Cindy is sitting here going, oh, Gosh, I'm glad I didn't write that down. Because we have a tendency to just, we want people to join so bad, and then we just tell them everything. So instead, when Susan shows interest, you just want to walk over to her and say, Susan, I see here you wanted some information. I'd love to send you home with some. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go home and look it over, and I'd love to give you a call, say tomorrow or the next day, to go over any questions that you may have. Does that sound okay with you? Sure. Great. Does tomorrow work for you? Tomorrow's perfect. Okay, wonderful. I really look forward to chatting with you then. Walk away. Don't keep standing there and talking. And what does Cindy do? Cindy raises her hand and says, because she's thinking in her head, well, that was pretty painless. So she says, excuse me, do you have an extra one of those? You know what? I do. So if you can keep cool in this, I call this like fishing. You know, we don't want to just reel it in really, really fast. We want to like dangle that line out there. We get a little bite, we set the hook, and we reel it in really slowly. That's how you catch those fish. A couple of other little tips. I always like to say, when did these fish come out to swim at your boutiques? It's typically when you're packing up. You will have people kind of just make their way over to you at the table or wherever you're set up and say, would you like some help packing up? Now, many of you will go, oh my gosh, no, this is easy breezy. It's why I love it, or whatever. I'm fine. You go, you have fun, you relax. If someone offers to help you, most of the time it's because they want to get your attention kind of alone. They might not want to say in front of everybody else that they would like some information. Maybe they're a little intimidated. So if someone says, would you like some help? Say, oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's sweet of you to offer. Allow people, because then what happens is the questions start to come out. And the questions, I call them the fish questions, and they are, so how many nights a week do you do this? You seem like you really like it. You know, can you really make good money? So these are the questions that will start to emerge from this, and you want to answer like you were answering for them. You know, I generally try to do 1 to 2, but that's what I love about this. At any time, I can just ramp it up or take it down depending on what's going on in my family or the money we'd like. And so that's what I love about it. Oh, really? Once you get about 2 or 3 questions, you're just going to look at them and say, well, Sandy, how would you like to just take home some information with you tonight? Well, do you mind? Oh gosh, I don't mind at all. Let me go grab a packet for you. Or I've got one right here. Here you go. So you're going to see these people. So in closing with this, I mentioned to you that 50% of people leave your boutique considering your job. Out of that 50, out of the 50, only about 10% of people will actually check yes on the box that they want information. Only about 10%. 70% are the fish. 70% of the 50 are the people that come up and they want to ask questions. And there's a remainder 20 of that 50, and they kind of just come up. You'll notice them at the end of your boutique, and they pick up everything. They got to touch everything. And they don't really ask a lot of questions. They're just kind of hanging and picking up everything and kind of looking at it. So I say to her, that's really pretty, isn't it? Oh my gosh, it's all so neat. Oh, so like whatever her name is. So Valerie, where are you from? She says, oh gosh, I'm from the, east side, blah, blah, blah. And you go, oh gosh, I haven't done a boutique over in that area in a really long time. I'd love to get back over there. Really? Oh yeah. So what do you do, Valerie? Well, right now I'm kind of between jobs and I've been sort of looking and, I'm not really sure. And you're going to say something like, well, have you ever considered anything like this? Oh gosh, I don't know. Well, how would you like to just take home some information with you? You know what? I'm going to put in some information here on hosting because I'd love to get out to your area, seriously. And I'm going to put a little information in here about the company. And then, I'll call you in a couple of days and we can just chat about it. How does that sound? Okay, sure. Now, out of these 3, I always ask, out of these 3, who do you think your greatest likely candidate is to join? Almost everybody answers 10%, the people checked yes. Or they answer the last 20%. And I'm like, no, it's the 70%. It's the people who are asking you questions. So this is where I always say, this is where you need to get your recruiting radar up so that you are aware. Be aware when you're packing up. Be aware of your surroundings. I always say to be a good recruiter, you have to speak with your mouth to create the interest. You have to listen with your ears for the questions, and you have to watch with your eyes for people that just don't have enough confidence to ask you the questions. And if you will really hone in on these, you will become an awesome recruiter. So that's what I have tonight, Deanna. And if people would like to ask questions, I'd be happy to take a couple questions.
Okay, great. There's one that already came in, and the question is, when you put your packets together, what would you suggest including in it?
Well, I have to tell you, I can certainly talk to the team, and we can look at that as the information that they have, and maybe Deanna can help me out on that.
Mm-hmm.
But these are the 3 things that I know that people want to know. So keeping that in mind, then we'll look at some of the pieces that you have. Number 1, people just want to know a little bit about the company. And I think you have that in your opportunity brochure, right, Deanna?
A little bit about the company. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they just kind of want to know just kind of a little bit about what's it all about. The other thing that they want to know is what the kit costs and what's in the kit. So now with this fabulous new kit that we have, we'll create a really nice flyer for that, and you can just print those off and you can put those in your packet. And the third thing that people like to know is, you know, what kind of income can they earn? So they want to see kind of some earning examples. I wouldn't put in an entire comp plan in that packet. You know, if you have something at a glance, maybe, but really they just want to know, what if I worked 1 night a week or 2 nights a week, or give some examples on, you know, a typical trade show or something like that. But you just want to give some examples, and you always want to make sure if you give any earning example ever that you have the, you know, this is based on a, you know, $400 boutique average or whatever the case is. You always have to make sure that you sort of justify that with where you're making that claim from. That's extremely important.
Right, and Lilla Rose doesn't provide that. So you ladies, we do have the opportunity brochure, which will give you the whole kit and the cost and all of that, and a little bit about the company. But creating those scenarios, those little, you know, how much I can earn, you guys might want to use your own experience and maybe some people, some of your upline and things like that.
Perfect. And then the last piece in that should be an intro letter. And your intro letter, keep this in mind, should have more white on the page than it has words. So do not create a novel on this single sheet of paper. And think about 3 paragraphs in this, and think about these points of interest that I laid out. So paragraph 1 is, thank you so much for your interest. And it's about you. At Lilla Rose, you can create the income that you want, work it around your schedule, and have the business you desire. Paragraph 2, as for me, I like this because, and you put in there a couple of your I stories. And then the last paragraph is, after looking over the information, I'm going to reach out to you and see what questions that you have, or give you any additional information if you want to reach out to me first. Here is my contact info. Put your email and your phone. And that is what a typical interest letter looks like, or you can call it an introduction letter, like you're introducing yourself, so that they do have your contact info.
Oh, I like that. I think that would lead right into the next question. Somebody asked what they should say if they're just at a show and they have just a short amount of time and they're handing them the Ready, Set, Bloom, which is the opportunity brochure. And, you know, what do they say? And I think that letter would be a really nice addition if, you know, you're going to be giving something out, you know, introducing them to yourself and, you know, your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so you don't then have to say anything other than, I'd love you to take this home, Marianne, and if I could touch base with you tomorrow or the next day to answer any questions that you may have, I would really love that. Would that work for you? That's the best thing to say. And then send her home with the Ready, Set, Bloom, and then also your introductory letter.
Great. Awesome. So they're also asking, right now they're giving out the Ready, Set, Bloom to everyone who purchases, and they're wondering if they should continue doing that.
You know what? That doesn't hurt, especially if they're, you know, very affordable and you want to do that. But when you do that, I will tell you this. So that you still want this packet and you want to ask people if they'd like a packet of information. And I probably still wouldn't just give those out to everybody at the beginning of the show. I would, as I'm doing checkout, say, would you care for some information? Or I could send this home for you, for yourself, or for a friend. Because otherwise, when you just pass those out, like some people do it in a folder, or they pass it out at the beginning of the party, you will never know if they really were interested. Like, were they a lead or weren't they a lead? But when they ask for it, then you know, and you know to follow up. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my only point with that is I've seen people give them out to everybody, then you never really know, were they interested or should I follow up with them or were they not? So one way, if you still want to check out, just say, did you want to take home some information with you this evening? And just have those right by your checkout table and be ready to give them one. That's probably how I would choose to do it.
Great. So there's another question that's just came in that is pretty much similar. They're talking about more of those events where they're just selling only and it's not a home boutique and they only have a few minutes with each person. And they're wondering, is there a shortened version that they should be saying or giving out?
So in that particular case, you want to have your packets made up, but one of the things I like at trade shows or events is to get yourself a picture frame and then put in the top reasons to be a part of Lilla Rose, or the top 10 or just the top 5 or whatever. And you want to put some key bullet points on there. So as people are walking by, they're reading that, they're looking at that. Because then if you're talking to another person, somebody could be looking at that. And then a lot of times people will read that and they'll come up and say, you know, and then at the end you can say, want to know more? Ask me for some information. Don't say, you want to join? So you want to know more? Ask me for some information. And then a lot of times people will, and then you can give them the rest of your information packet.
Great. Yeah, that's a really good one. That's very effective, the picture frame. You know, you can imagine your booth and all the nice things that people can look at, and then they run across this picture frame. I actually just saw this a couple weekends ago at someone's booth, and it was beautiful. It was very eye-catching, and she had some things around it that attracted also. So it was very well done. So it is an eye-catcher.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it allows it to speak for you when you can't speak. That's what's really great about it.
Yeah. The Ready, Set, Bloom brochure info is also in our catalogs. So can we just do catalogs?
Well, you could, except again, if people are taking the catalog because they want to go home and possibly get additional product or whatever, the key to getting a lead is to identify it. So I just want you to keep that in mind. Otherwise, you just give out the catalog and it just happens to be in there. You're never really going to know the level of interest to be able to do those follow-ups.
Good.
The follow-up is where people join. Taking the packet is that, you know, creating the interest, and some of those people may never join. But if you're just giving out the information, you don't know who to follow up with. That's the key piece.
Got it. Very important. Okay, so what do you think of help wanted signs? I think we had this question a couple of weeks ago.
I'm not a particular huge fan of help wanted. I think I said that before. But if you do it, I would, what we find today is instead of saying help wanted this, you know, I would make it fun and I wouldn't be evasive. I would just call it what it is. But instead, what we know draws people in today are questions. So instead of help wanted, or if you're going to do that, are you looking for a way to, do you love fashion and you're interested in hair and hair designs and, whatever? I would be very specific. But I'm not a huge fan of just help wanted. Now, in your boutique, you could put, I've seen people instead of saying help wanted, putting now hiring. And I have seen that, and then people ask about it. And I think that's just kind of a little nicer way maybe to have that little sign in your booth, but I certainly wouldn't run an ad saying help wanted.
Okay. What info do you need to give in the follow-up?
Well, typically in a follow-up, I just call and say, hey, Deanna, did you get a chance to look over the information that I gave you? And she says, you know what, I did, Belinda. And just, I've got a couple questions. So sometimes then they'll just ask their questions and you kind of want to go through that. Sometimes they'll ask them, did you have any questions? And they say, no. And I used to not know what to say then. I'd be like, oh, okay. So I learned to just say, great, were you ready to get started then? And can we get you signed up? And then people would go, oh, I do have a question. So it was the funniest thing. Or sometimes I had people just say, sure. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was like really easy. So if they say, no, I don't have any questions, maybe lead in with something like that. But if people ask you their couple of questions and they go, well, I'm just going to think about it a little bit more. This is a really a kind of a good line to let you know what their level of interest is. Okay, Deanna, certainly I would love you to take that time, but just so that I kind of get a better idea of where we're at on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being that you're not that interested at all, really, and 10 being you're ready to join, where would you put yourself on that scale? And if it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, they're probably not really that interested, but a 1 or a 2, you can say, great. Well, then the next thing I would do with that is I always try to then book the boutique no matter what. So then you could say something like, well, Deanna, that's great. But something you might want to consider then is just doing your own style boutique, just like Cindy did. That way you'll be able to get some additional product. And maybe seeing it again, you might get the reaction of your friends. You might, still, that might help you to kind of not think about it anymore. Getting people off the fence is really good, and having their own boutique is a great way to do that. If you see that somebody's a 7 and 8, you're pretty interested. So I would say then, well, Deanna, what is it that's really holding you back? And then they go, well, it's probably this. That allows you then to overcome that objection. And if they're still kind of sitting on the fence, I call it with the higher interest level people, you know what, Deanna, let's just do a decider. Let's do a decider boutique, okay? That means we'll book the boutique, and that night you can kind of get the reaction of your friends, see how it goes, and you may decide to join. Or you may decide that you just want to be the host and walk away with all the free products. So either way, at least we're moving in a good direction. What do you think about that? So those are a couple of the different lines I would use.
Great. All right then. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions coming in. So we can say our thank yous and our goodbyes. And Belinda, we sure appreciate you taking your time to teach us all and to, teach us about recruiting tips. I'm going to take a trip next because my tongue is tied. But yes, thank you so much, Belinda, and thank you to all the ladies out there who came on and joined us with this training. We will have this recorded, and it should be in your back office in a couple of weeks. So thanks again, and everyone have a great night.
All right, good night.
Bye, Belinda.